Nice to actually speak with you.
Well, I know, yeah, you too, especially me being like the promo background, I feel like it's really hard to find good promo people. So,
Mhm.
and it's always interesting too, kind of watching what I see online and seeing kind of like, who kind of stands out as like somebody who does big things in promotions, I guess. Like I'm sure there's other like great ones out there, but like from my observation over who I'm connected with on Instagram, you're just like way up here.
Oh, thank you.
And so were you on air first and you preferred to do
Yeah.
promotions or how did that?
So I went to school for communication
Okay.
and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I would always take these tests and they would come back like inconclusive, too many interests. And so I was like, well, now what am I supposed to do with myself like for the rest of my life? Because I was interested in so many things and I loved animals. So I wanted to be a veterinarian and I wanted to be a hostage negotiator because I saw a
Ooh.
movie about it, like all these different things. Graduating from college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I tried a couple things I didn't like. And then one day I heard my favorite radio station was looking for a new morning co-host. And I thought, oh, I'll go try out just for the fun of it. I've done theater. Like this could be fun. I'm gonna go audition. They ended up choosing me.
What station was
So
this?
that was Hot FM, WHTS, that has the female morning show now.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, so that was my first radio job. I made 19,000 full time as the morning, show co-host and the producer of the show, and then started to move into more of the promotions, the business side. Did a little bit of sales, a little bit of production at one point, and then really kind of honed in on what I'm really good at, and that's these events, promotions, marketing, branding, things like that.
Oh,
So
funny. I feel like usually people kind of go the other way, like get into promotion, so then they go on air.
yeah, it's definitely the foot in the door, to work on the promo squad and pay your dues, learn the business.
I feel like it though, and because promotions, you have to do so much of that type of stuff that you're pretty well prepared for world outside of radio, just because of all the improv we have to do.
You totally just kind of you learn conflict management tools, you learn how to, find resolution quickly and find solutions when there doesn't seem to be any.
Wait, so
Thank you.
backtrack to you. So they just like you auditioned and got like right into the morning show gig.
Yeah, they went from, everyone who auditioned and then they narrowed it down to 8 of us, and then they
Hmm.
had us each do a show with the 2 male co-hosts. From there, that I think they narrowed it to 4, and we went through like an interview process with the market president, the program director, and they're like, "Are you sure you can get up this early in the morning? Like it's really early." And I'm like, "I
Uh-huh.
can do it." And yeah, so then they ended up choosing me. It's pretty
That's really
crazy.
cool. It's kind of fun. Everybody's different radio story.
Yeah, it's fun to see how I mean everybody comes from such different backgrounds and has such a different path.
Were you Grand Rapids and then you went to Detroit?
So
Or
I was Grand Rapids and then I went to Richmond, Virginia, and I
okay.
worked for Cox Media there. And actually the day that I signed my lease at my rental, they sold the market to Summit Media. I had just like put my house up for sale in Michigan. I like my boyfriend and I had driven down like to find a place to live. My life was about it was moving to Virginia.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. But luckily the transition took forever. So I really mostly worked for Cox Media there. But then my boyfriend at the time, who later became my husband, who is now my ex-husband, he was in a snowboarding accident and broke his
Mm.
neck and became a quadriplegic. I left the industry altogether because I needed a job to come back and he couldn't do his physically. So I took his job to support us and became a full-time caregiver to him,
Mm.
and just left radio altogether. But when I got the call from iHeart Detroit, Tony Travato, the EVP of programming there, he's like, hey, I really need someone. And the market president in Grand Rapids told me to reach out to you. He wanted someone that could work the position in a regional way. So not just in Detroit, but also West Michigan and Toledo. And so I ended up starting in April, and then everything just kind of worked out.
I think
Yeah.
that's when I started following you was in Detroit. I was like, there's this cool promo girl that works in Detroit. Yeah. And I think what really stood out too is it seemed like these kind of team events that you do. It seems like you kind of actively work on like team building, or I just don't see that a lot. I was curious more about that. How you guys motivate the team and empower them, it seems.
I think it's so important for everyone on the team to understand why we do what we do, to understand the process. So starting in a new market, I wanted to have a boot camp here in Philly and make it fun and bring our spider tents and have the team time the team, have them set it up, take it down. We did a contest where we took outdated roll banner and made prom dresses, and the best one, won a prize. And I had our SVP of programming come out and explain like how meters work and the personal people meters and how Nielsen ratings work, and had the VP of sales come out and talk about revenue. And so, this is why we do what we do. We do it for ratings, we do it for revenue. Our job is to bridge the gap between the two by finding solutions that work for both. A lot of part-timers don't either invest the time to learn, they don't understand, they've never had someone, teach them, show them. So helping them understand like the why, I think, is so important. And I'm always looking to do the team building stuff. Like obviously we didn't get to do a lot last year, but we did it. We've done an escape room. We've gone ice skating, just stuff to get the team out and having fun together. And, it's not an easy job. And we really require a lot of our people. Open availability. You've got to lift heavy stuff. You're the first one to arrive, the last one to leave. You're not ever in the spotlight. It's not glamorous. You're in all kinds of weather, driving station vehicles that might be shaking and, making funny noises. And I'm sure you could relate to all of this.
It's the best.
It's like, we only have control of so much. And I would love to double the pay for everyone, but that's just not feasible. So instead, I started recognizing a promo member of the month with a Visa card and doing some team building and including, the team and some of the decisions we were making. Like, hey guys, this is our promo budget for this quarter. Like, what do we need? What are we missing? Like, what are some fun things that we could do at XYZ clients' appearances? Because we know you guys are bored at these. And if you're bored, our listeners are going to be bored. So what can we do to make it fun? How can we engage? Like, how can we make sure that you're having a good time? Because it's easy to bring the same amount of energy to Jingle Ball and Powerhouse, massive concerts where we're hanging out backstage, we're walking past Lizzo, Justin Timberlake's doing a meet and greet with a Make-A-Wish, it's all these amazing experiences. But the team, like, I expect them to bring the same level of energy to a mobile appearance, at a T-Mobile or a Verizon Wireless or whatever, that they would bring to the Jingle Ball. And we expect a lot. I expect a lot out of the team. That wasn't easy for them at first here in Philly.
Because you kind of came in and kind of revamped what was already like.
Oh yeah, it was I had to make a lot of changes.
Do you think that you get a better return on that? Like, people have been more like, I guess, willing to work and like, I guess turnover less. I don't know if that.
I mean, I think retention is always going to be a challenge for entry-level positions, like, street team, just because the pay is so small, the expectation is so high, and it limits what else you can do for your side hustles. One thing that's important to me is having a one-on-one meeting with each member on the team and asking, like, what is your personal and professional goal for the year? Like, what do you think is going well right now? What do you think we can work on? And how can I be the best leader to you in the coming year and, help you, support you in your journey? I think that them understanding that I'm personally invested, not only in their professional success, but their personal success, and I really do care. I think that the majority of the team does respond well to that. You're always going to have people that are like, oh, the boss is the boss, may not be open to that. But I think, showing that you were really invested in someone, and I really am. Like, the biggest compliment that I can ever get from someone is, they have a badass job. It may or may not be in the industry, but they accredit some of the things that they learned working on our team. And that's just like, when my team succeeds, I just get so like, that is like crack for me. Like, one of my best part-timers just got promoted to a full-time producer position in our building. And while I was so mad to lose him because he was so good at what he did, like, it's the perfect position for him. And like to see him get that, I was just ecstatic. And everybody has a different management style. You know, I've done some different leadership trainings, and I really love doing the one that I did is called Core Strengths, and it shows you it's a triangle, and it has people, policy, and performance. And it shows you where you land as far as what motivates you. And my boss in Detroit was very much performance. And of course, he's a programmer. So it's like, okay, ratings, you know, and very, very, I don't want to hear the excuses. Just give me the facts and, you know, let me know what we need to do to get from A to B. I am a combination of people and performance, where my biggest motivation is when my team succeeds. So, and then there was another gal that worked on the same team as I did, and hers was policy. And so contest rules, you know, making sure that everything is fair with the team, doing the scheduling, things like that. That was like her strength. And knowing that, it really helped us to understand each other as a management team. So I love stuff like that. I just think it's so fascinating. You know, one of the biggest things in management is understanding what motivates somebody, and then framing something in a way that makes sense to them. When you're having like a correction meeting, or when you have to write someone up, or you know, address any issues, it's, look, like, I know you care about this. What you're doing is you know, going to be a roadblock for you if you continue to get to that. Why it doesn't make sense for you. And I think that that's a great way to motivate too.
So will you have these type of conversations even like part-time, you know, we just come on and just handle events and remotes and stuff on the team? Oh, wow.
Yeah. When I came to Philly, it was one of my priorities. I wanted to sit down with the full-time manager, the promotions director that was on the team, and, you know, obviously get her take. She'd been in the market forever, but also sit down with each promo member, you know, part-timer, and just get an introduction, like learn about them. Like, what is your side hustle? Like, how can we support you in that? And, you know, what is your ultimate goal in radio? I think, you know, sitting down with everyone individually is really important, and not just on the team, but also in other departments. And, you know, learning from the sales team, like, what is your impression of the promotions department right now? What are you not getting that's going to help you secure the revenue that we need to be, you know, getting to have a successful year? And sitting down with the programmers and the radio, you know, the jocks, and like, hey, if you could do anything, what would you do? And some really cool stuff has come out of that.
You're totally speaking my language. It's like, that's kind of what I would ask the interns. I feel like if you know a little bit about their motivations, then yeah, you can play off those strengths.
You know, I do think it's important to be a detail-oriented, organized person that really cares about people. That's the number one thing. You know, everyone has an opportunity. Even the quiet people have an opportunity to be leaders within their realm of passion. So if you can find the right spot for that person, like, that is the most rewarding, satisfying thing for me, when, you know, when someone really steps into a leadership role in something that they've never done before. I do think it's so important to have good relationships between the departments, especially when, you know, you've got the ratings over here, you've got the revenue over here. It's 100% conflicting goals. And it creates a lot of tension. You know, there's many businesses that have, you know, departments with conflicting goals, but ultimately the goal is to build all the brands, you know, our partner brands, radio station brands, and getting everyone on board with that same goal is not always easy, because, you know, salespeople want to make their commission, and the jocks want to, you know, have endorsements and do cool things, and it doesn't always align. But and our market isn't perfect. You know, we have a lot of things to work on too, but I do think we do a good job of trying to understand each other.
Again, your type of management style, even just outside radio, I don't see that often. Like, do you oversee a few stations? I know they're all set up differently, so I'm curious how yours is structured.
Every cluster is a little bit different. So in Philly, though, so I'm the VP of marketing, and for the region, but Philadelphia is so large, it's its own region.
Do you guys have a lot of events even happening though with COVID? Are you guys short-staffed really, or is it fine because you don't really have much going on? Or
having to get creative, find solutions for, you know, we started last year doing a wedding at Love Park. So there's this famous love sculpture. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like iconic. It's so Philly, and it's right in the middle of the center city. So I last year got the morning show ordained, and we married 3 couples in front of that love sculpture on Valentine's Day.
I love
And
it.
I had no budget, and I became a wedding planner, produced 3 weddings. It was absolutely amazing. We changed their lives.
Uh-huh.
I went out and got cake trade on my own, like anything that I could get to like make the experience even better. But our market, I would almost say, has been more promotionally active than 99% of the other markets, because even back in August, we started doing regular broadcasts with our sports talk station, 3 a week, which is a lot in normal times for one station. But during that, during COVID, it's really a lot. And then you add in, the other appearances that we started to do, the promotion, the, 102 grand in the sand that we
Oh,
launched
wow.
with the drone show, and the New Year's Eve Bastille concert we did with our alternative station, and Jingle Ball, which we did virtually, and hired a Santa to bring over 25K in prizes to listeners' homes in his Santa sack. So, we've been pretty active, but it's been a challenge, but we've made do, with limited resources and staff.
The drone thing happened over the summer, right?
Yes.
Summer. Was that planned because of COVID, or would that already been in the works prior to being in quarantine?
No, that was actually something that we kind of pulled together, because we had done 102 grand in the sand the year before. So 2019, we did it for the first time in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it in Atlantic City. We buried $102,000 of prizes in the Atlantic City beach.
Oh, wow.
And gave away golden shovels. And if you had a golden shovel, you got to dig up a treasure chest and sit and see what your prize is. And it could be anything from, a $250 massage package up into a Camaro. We gave away a Camaro.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It was really, really cool. So we were excited to do it again, but then COVID happened. But our title sponsor wanted to do the promotion again. I spent a lot of time going back and forth from Philly to Michigan this past year, just, working remotely with visiting my family. And on one of the drives, it just like kind of came to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we should get a sandbox, put it in the studio, have the jocks dig for the prizes. Then we're going to have these golden treasure chests that have the great, like, biggest prizes, and we'll actually go to the listener homes with a sandbox, and they'll dig out a treasure chest, see what they won. And like, everybody's so bored right now. This will be amazing entertainment. It'll be super fun. And so we ended up creating an augmented reality treasure hunt inside of Acme grocery stores. Acme is a grocer here in Philadelphia. And they wanted foot traffic, but they didn't want crowding. And last year we did shovel raids, where we gave away a golden shovel, which meant you got to come dig a prize in Atlantic City. Okay. But there were so many people that came. It was crazy, and it was so fun. It was amazing. And, looking at this past year, they're like, yeah, we don't want to do any tabling. Like, we don't want to gather any crowds, but we want people to go into the stores. So we created this augmented reality experience where we had a poster that had like a code on it, and you could download this free augmented reality app, scan the code, and our DJ jumps out of a treasure chest throwing gold coins. And all you had to do is take a screenshot and register it, at q102.com. You're registered to win a grand prize. So we got pretty creative. And then for the drone show, we had seen this company. It's actually a small tech startup company out of Philly. Okay. And they did this really cool back when everyone was honoring healthcare workers. It was like a really big thing back in like April, New York at 7:00 every day, people would clap and things like that. So this drone company had flown up to the hospital to the level that the nurses and like the staff are at, and they did this thank you show for them right outside the hospital window. I'm like, that is so cool. So the producer of Elvis Duran here in Philly, he's like, we should do something with these guys. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. So I reached out to the CEO and we started talking. It was like, all right, what are some things we can do? Can we do something for Pride? Can we do something, for Black Lives Matter? Like, what can we do that's going to make an impact? And then let's launch 102 Grand in the Sand with this, and let's simulcast the soundtrack on the station, and do Instagram Live, and we'll just get everybody's attention. It was incredible. I mean, and thank you for posting about it. I was just like in tears reading the comments, all of the incredible support from competitors, from other radio people like around the country, and some of them were reaching out to me directly, like,
oh,
this
were
is
they?
amazing, how to do this. And then of course, like, all the other iHeart markets are calling, like, Emily, I want a drone show in my market.
Look, I've noticed if I do a longer video like that, it's hard for people to actually like watch them. I found myself so drawn into it that I was like, I hope other people give it a chance and let it take you in. And I was so thrilled and happy with the comments too. And, it's an iHeart thing. So people, have shit to say about iHeart. So I was like worried, and I'm like, I think there was maybe one negative comment or something about firing people. Like, keep it positive on there,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. It was such a cool response, and it ended up being featured like as the promotion of, but the first promotion pick by our national programming group, which was really cool.
Oh,
and like an
wow.
internal email. And so
another promotion that you've done in the past that you're like your all-time favorite promotion?
I mean, it's so hard. Like, for me, of course, the big splash promotions are always going to be the most fun, the most exciting, and, the most braggable when you're sharing with other people. But I just really love the community stuff, and the stuff where we change people's lives. Do you know Mojo in Detroit?
Oh, yeah. Huh?
He has done this promotion for years and years, and they took a picture with all of the babies that have been created from the radio contest. And it's just like thinking about how it changes not only the parents' lives, the grandparents, the aunts, like it's like that gets me so excited. Like, we really do, we change people's lives. And then this this wedding promotion that we do, these are generally people that can't afford a wedding, that have been together for a while and just don't have the means. And we change their lives too. And that part of my job is probably my favorite, the most rewarding. Changes people's lives, and we have the ability to do that with our megaphone and with our resources. That I just love that. And looking back on some of the programs we've done, we did a high school tour with the urban station in Detroit that was just incredible. And we were promoting literacy and showing the kids, like, it's cool to be able to read and write, because you can be a rapper, and you can be a lyricist. Like, there's so many different cool things that you can do with education, and this is why. And so we had the kids write poetry slams and then perform them alongside local artists that performed. And like, oh my gosh, that was another one of my favorites for sure.
By the way, I love the iHeart sweatshirt.
I know, you can't be a branding queen and not have your iHeart
right
on.
exactly
I've really collected a lot of iHeart gear, and some people make fun of me actually for wearing it all the time, but I think I'm proud to work for iHeart. I love what I do, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody about it.
This has been great conversation so far, especially about, talking to people and kind of the communications between departments and why that's important. And
I was really close right before I left Detroit to putting together a promotions Olympics, kind of like a field day at school, but it would be, the cornhole toss, and then bannering, and putting up tents, and then like doing something with duct tape. And, it's kind of like the boot camp idea, making it a competition, having like a really badass prize. I really wanted to do something with all the marketing people within iHeart. When we do the iHeart Radio Music Festival, like, there are hundreds of us that come from around the country to help produce that event. We're all in the same place at once. Our transportation's already been paid for. Like, let's stay an extra day and have a marketing conference and have it underwritten by a branding company that wants to sell us, apparel that with our brand. Like, maybe we give them a contract for a year in exchange for sponsor. Like, there's just, I think that that's one thing that's missing in the industry, is that networking between markets, between, companies and organizations like you, like, really give us an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And but you have to have a thick skin. I'll never forget that when the person created an I Hate Emily MySpace page.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask you about that. Yeah. Was it a random person?
I still don't know who it was. I
Uh-huh.
think it possibly was someone who also auditioned to be on the show and wasn't chosen.
Uh-huh.
That was like my best guess, but like I'll never forget that day. And it was like the whole page was just like different reasons that they hated me, because you know how you would like answer certain questions
Oh
and
yeah. Uh-huh.
it was like the meanest thing anyone has ever done, but it's like, I just would love to know what that person is doing now and
Right.
what state that they're living in and who else they're trolling. Like, yeah. And they would try to like befriend other radio personalities, like even in my building.
Oh my God, that's so weird.
Country guy, like the country guy accepted the friendship. I don't remember how that worked, but like he ended up being like, and then she featured or he featured them in his like top 5 or whatever. And that person like came to me and was like, Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what it was, when this person connected with me and I had no idea. And I was like, what? And that was how I found out about it because I didn't know.
Oh my
So
gosh. So they like wanted you to see it then if they're like connecting with people at the station.
yeah, they totally wanted me to see it. They wanted to ruin my life. But yeah, whenever you're doing well at something, there's always going to be the people that are going to try to pull you back and pull you down, and you just can't let that affect you. That's something that is really special about your platform, because a lot of what we do doesn't translate to other industries.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing away branding when your station rebrands for the 4th time and you spent 5 grand to get a new vehicle wrap and now you have to peel off the paint, or the blinds that I tried to spray paint because it was like $12,000 to replace them.
I
By the way, ended up being a pretty big fail on my part, but
the
I
blind like blinds in the studio?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So they were branded,
uh-huh.
and we had 2 studios that now had outdated branding, and we got a quote. It was like $12,000 to replace these blinds,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I'm gonna go to Home Depot. I'm gonna buy some spray paint. I used to have a craft business called Good Crafternoon. Like,
I
I
love
got
it.
this. Got this. Like 10 layers of spray paint later, I'm like, I don't got this. I don't got this. Like, the material is not meant to be spray painted, but we make do. You have to get creative when you don't have resources. We don't have $12,000 times 2 sitting around to replace the branding, and I'm not going to look at outdated branding forever. So
That's why
yeah,
I don't like when there's a lot of stations, I guess out here, I don't know about other ones, that will do will have the logo, but then they have the slogan on there when the logo is the one that kind of stays the longest and the slogan was more often to change. So, and then we always have to rewrap everything and redo everything. So I was like, guys, just get it with the logo because that hasn't changed. Well, we can change out other things.
put a sticker or a magnet
Yes.
or something
Yes.
that's changeable. Like, I totally get that. And we in Detroit had like an iHeart vehicle, iHeart Detroit, and it had
Oh,
like all our brands on it. And I would get so irritated because I would know, like, all right, I know at least one of those was going to be changing in the next year. Like, we have to rewrap the whole thing. Like, for the love, can we please just get something that's going to stay for a while? Right before I started in Detroit, they did a car giveaway, and the day before the giveaway, someone crashed the car, and it was like the whole one side was like completely messed up.
the giveaway car.
So they had to like a giveaway car, like a brand new car, like that was wrapped with the station wrap. I mean, absolute nightmare. And I think what they ended up like positioning it a certain way for the contest. You couldn't see the damage, but I just was like, I can't even imagine the worst possible thing that I saw happen promotionally, and it was right before I started with iHeart in West Michigan.
Uh-huh.
We did an event called the B93 Birthday Bash, and it was a free concert. Every year, we'd give away thousands of free tickets. I would go out every day for 30 days straight and do 1 to 2 of these appearances, sell T-shirts, hand each person a ticket, invite them to the show. Like, it was amazing. But one year the rain was really heavy and a dam upstream opened, and over 1,000 listener cars were flooded.
Oh
Flooded.
my God.
Google B93 birthday bash flood, and you just will be amazed at the pictures, the video. Going into the next year, I was amazed. I thought all these people would come out to these ticket stops and they'd be pissed and they'd say, where's my car? Replace the car for me. And we have a station Hummer, and so it looks even worse. But every the comments were, we're gonna do it again, right? Like, we're still gonna have the bash this year. Like, we'll be there. We'll be like, it's such a testimony to the loyalty that listeners
Yeah.
have for radio stations and for influencers, and for the sponsors that are involved. Like, that to me was like, wow. If people, and it was people that had their car was flooded. Like,
Right.
oh yeah, my car was last year, but I'll be there again this year. Like, they didn't care. It was absolutely amazing. But you have to Google that, because that was probably like I mean, aside from the person that lost their life for a weed. Do you remember that one?
Oh yes. Oh my God. Yes. Whew.
That that is, I think, every promotions person's biggest fear is someone getting hurt. But anytime, like, even with the drone show, the whole like couple days leading up, I was like, God, please, like, please just let everybody be safe on the roads. Like, please don't let this be a distraction to anyone. No, I don't
Yeah.
want to cause a collision or have someone, bump into a median or something because they're looking up at the sky. And there's always risk, and that's why we have amazing risk management teams. But to be cutting edge and to be different and to make a splash, you have to take those measured risks. It's always a bit doing a new promotion, and making sure that everybody's safe, everybody's like, it's so important, but not always a controllable. And especially if you don't know that by drinking a lot of water and not peeing, you're going to drown yourself, like, internally. Like, nobody would do that.
And I remember that, and I was just being like, wow. I think it was before I actually worked in radio, but hearing about it and being like, oh my God. And then after working at it, being like, oh my God, I can't even imagine the phone call, the whole thing. Like, whew. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. This is so awesome. Like I said, I've been wanting to talk to you for so long.
Anytime, always happy to have a chat. So thank you for your support and for being an advocate for radio, and for people like me that look for other like-minded people that are passionate about what they do. I think
Yeah.
it's really cool what you do.
Yeah. Thank you. You too.
This is the last thing I'll leave you with,
Uh-huh.
because the way I view promotions is, we're the frame for
Yeah.
the masterpieces of art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody notices the frame, but the right frame can bring out the beauty in a masterpiece. And so, looking at promotions and marketing, we're the frame for the radio station, we're the frame for the jocks, for the brand, and it's such an important role, but it's a behind the scenes kind of role.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very, very well said. Exactly. I love that. The picture analogy. That's great because it's so true. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your night.
You too. Great
All
to
right.
talk to you.
You too. Talk to you later.
All right,
Bye.
bye.